Hey family, welcome back. MarshaunO here. Let's talk about the 7 most common relationship problems. There are problems that you're probably not even thinking about. So when you think about these things after listening to this, then definitely go check on your partner and see how he or she is actually doing. But before I go into the 7 most common relationship problems, I want to invite you, especially if you are a Black woman that is struggling to get to the next level in your relationship. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're ready to take actions. You are ready to be around a community of like-minded women that actually look like you, so you don't have to do a whole lot of explaining as to why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. Definitely go ahead and sign up to the Marriage Restoration Club. The link is down in the description box below. It is group coaching by yours truly, for a monthly fee, of course, but you will be getting text messages, right? You'll getting you'll be getting 2 text messages in there. You'll also be getting ways to connect with the community. You'll also be getting bi-weekly group coaching calls, also bi-weekly book discussions, and a plethora of other things within this thing. I'm also gifting the 5, actually I made it 7 simple conversation starters that you can have with your spouse, because listen, they're actually scripts. They're actually scripts that you can use, because a lot of times we do not know how to communicate, and because communication is such a huge issue, I wanted to compact it for you ladies who are ready to take advantage of the Marriage Restoration Club. I have this 7 top scripts that you can use with your man tonight if you want to go ahead and shift your relationship from where it is today to where you actually want it to be. So now, the 7 most common relationship problems. Listen, I'm not going to talk about the usual ones that make the list, such as finances, such as children, such as religion, such as communication, as I just mentioned. Those all make the list, and of course they are very, very common. I am going to talk about 7 that you don't really think about, but they're still very common amongst the people that I help, right, that I coach, amongst my clients, amongst my friends, amongst my family, amongst and even some of them might even be, let me look at the list really quick. Yes, some of them sometimes even plague my own relationship because I am not paying attention. I am human just like everybody else, but me coming here sharing with you keeps me on point in my own marriage. So without further ado, the first one is being overwhelmed by life. I mean, right now, especially in a time like this, life is getting in the way of many things. I mean, think about the stock market is plummeting. Think about the war that's going on in Ukraine and Russia. Just think about just life. The gas prices are skyrocketing. Your paycheck is staying the same. And everything is still coming at you. You still have to supply, right? Or maybe you got diagnosed with something, right? So just life is getting in the way. Maybe it's your parents who got diagnosed with something. Maybe a big life shift is taking place where the children are about to go to school, and that's one of the things that's happening in my own life. My daughter is now 5 and she's about to start kindergarten. So now I went from raising her till she's 5, well, me and my husband, right, raising her till she's 5, until now it's time for her to take the next leap in life, which is now to go to school, to be around children all day, every day. So life can be overwhelming. All of the shifts and changes that occur in our life can be overwhelming. So if you have not asked your spouse how he is doing recently, then I definitely, if he's not around you right now, pause the video, send a text, ask your partner how he's doing, and then also follow it up with, what can I do to make your life easier or your day better, something like that. But life can be overwhelming for a lot of us right now. So check on your strong friends, and definitely check on your spouse, especially if he is a guy that outwardly always shows you how strong he actually is. You never know the internal dialogue that he's struggling with currently. So life can be overwhelming at times. The second most common relationship problem is those good old chores. The chores is still on the list, and they are on the list so much so that I wanted to put them here once again, because even in the year of 2022, we still have both parties that are in the household that are working, but it's still falling on a lot of women, or the majority of women. Of course, some men are picking up the torch and helping out. However, there are a majority of men that are still not helping out in the household, and this can be very taxing on the relationship, especially when, which I'll go into number 3, which is sex. Especially when sex is involved, you want more sex, right? This is a common theme that I hear from a lot of men. They want more sex, they want more sex, they want more sex, but not really taking into consideration all of the things that the woman is doing. And I'm not saying that you're not doing anything, man. Please don't come for me in the comment section. Men do a whole lot as well. But when it comes to the chores specifically, you men can actually help step it up, so you can cut some of that stress from your woman's life, and then also she can give you what you need more of. And don't get it twisted, women want and need sex just as well, but it seems like most men need it. Actually, I'm not gonna say it seems, I know for a fact that men need it more than women. And of course, is this all men? No, but it is the majority of men. Sex is a driver. Now, the third thing is not just sex, it is sex drives being mismatched, right? So one party may want it more than the other, and unfortunately, in 99% of relationships, this is the thing, where one party wants it more than the other, especially when you've gotten into the real relationship, not the fantasy of the relationship, and not when you guys are still in the honeymoon phase, if you will, which is where you both want sex all the time with one another, and you're doing it all the time as well. You not only want it, but you're also doing it. But once you get into the real relationship, and as I just mentioned, life becomes overwhelming, or the chores get in the way, or the finances get in the way, or the children get in the way. All of these obstacles start to get in the way. One party still wants it more than the other person kind of even kills. But I am definitely asking, right, for your spouse, for you to find ways to increase your libido, right? Whether it's flirting all day long with one another, sending text messages, calling, FaceTiming, emailing, whatever it is that you need to do to keep that heightened sense of sexy feeling, right? So it could be a fellas, right? You could be sending the text message to get her engaged, because if you don't know it, women start up here mentally. We don't just get ready like a lot of men can just be ready. We have to get ready. We have to know what's actually happening. And so now that you have this information, utilize it. Start sending her sexy texts. Tell her about the things that you like that she does to you when you're doing it. Get her in the mindset that, hey, this is going down tonight. And the more that you do that, as well as help out, right? So she's not thinking about all of these other areas and things that she needs to do. She can actually be present in that moment. The sex can be even better as well. So that's the third thing, mismatched sex drives. The fourth relationship problem is the approach to parenting. See, a lot of times we don't talk about these things before we get into our relationships or have children and even marriage. And then we see how our partner is rearing the children or child, all right? And we might not necessarily like it. I have to say that me and my husband did have this conversation, and we had this conversation several different times about how we would approach parenting. And I have to say that we're really good about being on the same page. Honestly, even when we're mad at one another, and our daughter can see the tension there, right? She starts to do what kids do, which is you ask me, I say no, then she goes over to him and then ask him, right? But when we both are in the same room and hearing what she's doing and watching what she's doing, we're like, or me specifically, your dad just said no, so no. And then he'll do the same thing. Your mom just said no, so the answer is no, right? So we're on the same page. But a lot of people are not on the same page when it comes to raising the children. And it could be a plethora of things. That was just one example. It could be a multitude of things when it comes to rearing your child and you and your partner not being on the same page. So if this is a tough conversation for you, or if you've never had the conversation, then make time to have this vital conversation so it can stop being a relationship problem in your relationship specifically. The fifth most common relationship problem is the lack of responsibility. Now, I hear this a lot from my clients, and I hear it mainly from the women, right? And I do mainly coach women. However, there are a few lucky men that I have coached, and they talk about this as well. However, the majority that lack responsibility that I find is that men lack the sense of responsibility, whether it's saying, yes, I messed up, whether it's saying I'm sorry, whether it's coming to you just to say that you're right about even something very small. There's the lack of responsibility that's being taken, and it is causing problems, whether you know it or not. Well, actually now you know it because you're watching this video, but your lack of responsibility is making her check out more than you even realize, because she's feeling like, well, it doesn't matter if I call him on it, he's not going to man up, he's not going to own it, he's not going to say I'm sorry, and the list goes on and on. So that lack of responsibility is really killing that connection piece that we really want to feel. And specifically for the men, your connection piece for most men is the sex, right? And so when you don't own up, when you have a lack of responsibility for the things that you say, the things that you do, the things that you don't do, right, you're really decreasing your chances of that sex act happening, right? So man up, own up to your stuff. It's okay for you to be wrong. It's okay for you to apologize, because that's actually showing how much security you actually have, and your vulnerability that's actually really sexy to us as your woman. So show your responsibility by owning up to the mistakes that you make, the things that you do, the things that you say, the things that you don't do, right? When you don't keep your word, own up to it, because I can trust you more, I can trust your word more, and I can actually lean on you physically and rhetorically. Number six is having the same fight over and over and over and over and over and over. You're on the hamster wheel because you keep having the same fight over and over again. And that is a really big relationship problem. It's definitely on this list of the common relationship problems, because a lot of times when I get to my clients, or I should say when my clients get to me, this keeps coming up. This is a recurring thing excuse me, that they're having, which is having the same fight over and over and over again. And one of the reasons why you're having the same fight over and over and over again is because neither one of you is coming up with some solution that honors both of you. Excuse me. And so because you're not having a solution that's honoring the both of you, or acknowledging, right, having that responsibility there that I just mentioned, that it's really taken away from the sex appeal of you, the sex appeal of the relationship, the trust factor, right? So now there's mistrust in there. It also leads to that miscommunication, which also leads to the distance and the disconnect that happens. So having the same fight over and over again, one of the biggest ways to do that, or to stop doing that, is to really think about what the resolution or the solution actually is, and then have a discussion about what your thoughts are, and then allow your partner to come back and rebut it rebut it if they need to. But have a conversation, because literally have a conversation, and then whatever you say that you're going to do or stop doing, actually do that thing, right? Because that also, as I just mentioned, goes into your trust that I can have for you, as well as being in this relationship, as well as the security and a plethora of other things. The seventh and final most common relationship problem is keeping score of the mistakes that your partner or spouse is making. This is a relationship killer, because if you're sitting there keeping score, if you have a tally of all of the things that your spouse has done wrong to you, then guess what? You are focusing more on the bad than you're focusing on the good. And the only thing you're going to be able to see in your spouse and in this relationship is the negative, which none of us want to be attached to the negative. We want to be on the positive side, right? So you got to stop keeping score if that is something that you do, because you're not helping your belief about your choices in partner, right? Your choices in this relationship, your beliefs about this could be good, this is good, we're good, right? Because all of that good that I just mentioned is not at the forefront of your brain. It might even not even be in the back, honestly. You might have tucked that away. And anytime you're tucking the good away, only thing you can see, only thing that's in your field of view is the negative, which is not helping you stay in a healthy relationship, because the only thing that you can see is that this is toxic. And when you see that this is toxic, guess what? You start acting toxic because your brain wants you to win. And so everything that you're focusing on, your brain is saying, see, you're right. See, you're right. See, you're right. And so you need to flip it. You need to switch it. You need to create a list of the positives that your spouse brings to the relationship, as well as why you're in this relationship, and start focusing on those things. Because when you do that, the negative will start to go away, dissipate, and guess what? You're complaining about your relationship, you're complaining about your spouse will actually dissipate as well, and you will seem like a much happier person because you have a shift in your perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, I am MarshaunO, and I hope that you have enjoyed these 7 most common relationship problems, and I hope that I've given you some ideas on how to alleviate these things from your relationship. I'm MarshaunO, and I help Black Christian women that are married or long-term relationships to stop feeling disconnected and unloved and shift them to feeling heard, understood, and appreciated. I love you guys, and there's nothing that you can do about it, and I will see you in the next video. All right, bye now.